Welcome to Special Education with हामिद नकवी। आजकल स्पेशल एजुकेटर्स के लिए पंजाब पब्लिक सर्विस कमीशन का एक इश्तहार आया हुआ है, जिसके लिए एप्लीकेशन जमा कराने की आखिरी तारीख 17 मई है। उस इश्तहार में बड़े वाज़े अंदाज में ये लिखा हुआ है कि अप्लाई करने से पहले हमारी इंस्ट्रक्शंस को पढ़ लें, और इन इंस्ट्रक्शंस को पढ़ने का फ़ायदा ख़ुद कैंडिडेट को होता है, इसलिए कि अगर इन इंस्ट्रक्शंस के मुताबिक एप्लीकेशन ना दी जाए तो एप्लीकेशन रिजेक्ट हो जाती है और आपकी तमाम मेहनत राय वहाँ जाती है। सो प्लीज़ ये इम्पॉर्टेंट वीडियो ज़रूर आप देखें और आखिर तक देखें कि आपने जब अप्लाई किया है तो उसमें क्या ये ज़रूरी हदायत इनके ऊपर अमल किए है या नहीं किया, और इनके ऊपर हर एक के ऊपर अमल करना इंतहाई ज़रूरी है, वरना आपकी एप्लीकेशन रिजेक्ट हो सकती है। सो आए शुरू करते हैं। ये पंजाब पब्लिक सर्विस कमीशन के इंस्ट्रक्शन की हूबहू कॉपी है और मैं आपको ये पढ़ के सुना देता हूँ। आइए शुरू करते हैं। Important instructions to candidates. Please read the following instructions carefully along with advertisement of the Commission before submitting your online application form. Advertisement. Candidates are advised to read all terms and conditions and general instructions of advertisement carefully in order to submit their online applications complete in all respects. The onus responsibility of correctness of the data given in the online application will rest squarely on the candidate. ये कैंडिडेट की ज़िम्मेदारी है कि इन टर्म्स एंड कंडीशन को अच्छी तरीके से पढ़ ले और उनके ऊपर अमल करे, क्योंकि ये उसके ऊपर इन्हसार होगा आपकी एप्लीकेशन के एक्सेप्ट होने या ना होने का। सबसे पहले है फ़ीस। इट इज़ मैंडेटरी फॉर कैंडिडेट्स टू डिपॉजिट द फ़ी एज रिक्वायर्ड इन द एडवर्टिजमेंट अंडर द हेड ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस ऑफ स्टेट टेस्ट फ़ी रियलाइज्ड बाय द पंजाब पब्लिक सर्विस कमीशन in any branch of State Bank of Pakistan or National Bank of Pakistan or Government Treasury। इन तीनों में से किसी एक में आपने फ़ीस जमा करानी है बिफोर द क्लोजिंग डेट ऑफ रिसीट ऑफ एप्लीकेशन। जो एप्लीकेशन की डेट है उससे पहले। रिसीट नंबर विल बी मेंशन्ड इन द ऑनलाइन एप्लीकेशन फॉर्म ऑफ द कैंडिडेट। Original receipt will be produced and submitted at the time of interview and viva, failing which candidates will not be allowed to appear in the interview/viva. Original receipt will be retained by the Punjab Public Service Commission for record. ये रसीद आपने संभाल के रखनी है। नंबर आपने ऑनलाइन एप्लीकेशन फॉर्म में एंटर करना है और इंटरव्यू के वक्त वो आपसे रसीद ले लेंगे। नोट करने वाली बात उन्होंने बड़े फॉन्ट में लिखी है, जैसे ये है, नो बैंक ड्राफ्ट और पे ऑर्डर और चेक और एनी अदर सच इंस्ट्रूमेंट विल बी एक्सेप्टेड एज फी बाय द कमीशन। बैंक ड्राफ्ट और पे ऑर्डर या चेक नहीं चलेगा जी। कैंडिडेट्स रिजाइडिंग आउटसाइड पाकिस्तान बट हैविंग डोमिसाइल ऑफ द पंजाब विल डिपॉजिट द फी एट द पाकिस्तानी एम्बेसी of the residing country in the currency of that country equivalent to the amount of application examination fee prescribed for the post। पाकिस्तान से जो बाहर रह रहे हैं वो एम्बेसी में जमा कराएंगे और उस मुल्क की करेंसी में वो जमा कराएंगे फ़ीस के बराबर। इसमें ये ख़ास कंसेशन दी गई है, स्पेशल पर्सन आर नॉट रिक्वायर्ड टू डिपॉजिट एप्लीकेशन एग्ज़ाम टेस्ट फ़ीस। स्पेशल पर्सन के लिए फ़ीस कोई नहीं है जी। अब प्रोसीजर क्या है? प्रोसीजर फॉर सबमिशन ऑफ ऑनलाइन एप्लीकेशन फॉर्म Applicants are required to submit online application form up to the closing date mentioned in the advertisement. Candidates should fill the online form carefully in the light of the guidelines and instructions mentioned in the advertisement for the said post. Editing options to correct any data will be available to the candidate till the closing of the date of submission of online application form. आप एडिट कर सकते हैं आखिरी तारीख तक उस फॉर्म को. The candidates are advised to submit only their personal valid email address and personal mobile number at the time of submission of their online application. Editing the date of birth on or before the closing date is available to the candidates. Candidates may edit their date of birth on or before the date if so desired. Next main point is applications other than online will not be accepted by the Commission. सो आप कोई हार्ड कापी नहीं भेज सकते, बाई पोस्ट नहीं भेज सकते, सिर्फ आप अप्लाई ऑनलाइन कर सकते हैं. कैंडिडेट्स शैल नॉट बी अलाउड टू अप्लाई ऑनलाइन आफ्टर क्लोजिंग डेट. क्लोजिंग डेट के बाद अप्लाई नहीं हो सकता. द कैंडिडेट्स आर रिक्वायर्ड टू इंश्योर, ये बातें आपने ज़रूरी जो है ना नोट करनी है. नो कॉलम ऑफ वेब जनरेटेड एप्लीकेशन फॉर्म इज़ लेफ्ट ब्लैंक. The post up to BPS 18 hard copy of online application shall not be required to submit it to the Commission. For the post falling in basic scale 19 and above, where scrutiny work is required before the interview, hard copy of online application along with a set of photocopies of all relevant documents should be submitted as requisition in the relevant advertisement. In case any application is rejected due to any reason, representation, if any, shall be addressed to Secretary Punjab Public Service Commission. अगर किसी वजह से आपकी एप्लीकेशन रिजेक्ट हो जाती है तो उसके ऊपर आप रिप्रेजेंट कर सकते हैं सेक्रेटरी पब्लिक सर्विस कमीशन को. In case any information provided by the candidate in his her online application form is found to be incorrect or false at any stage, he or she shall be disqualified and action will be taken under the rule. अब नेक्स्ट इज एलिजिबिलिटी, और सबसे पहले उसमें है मेडिकल फिटनेस सर्टिफिकेट. मेडिकल फिटनेस सर्टिफिकेट issued by the medical superintendent of the concerned district headquarters or services hospital Lahore shall be acceptable under the regulation policy decisions. However, medical fitness certificate issued within 3 months prior to the closing date of advertisement for the post shall be acceptable, subject to the condition that the candidate fulfills all requirements of physical standard prescribed for the post applied for the candidate. Medical fitness certificate issued by the competent authority, that is medical superintendent, district headquarter hospital or service hospital, after the closing date of the receipt of online application shall not be acceptable. Eligibility of candidates for the post will be determined on the basis of qualification, experience prescribed in the service rules advertisement, instruction issued by the government or the commission from time to time, the age, qualification, experience and the credential etc. of the candidate shall be taken up to the closing date fixed for the such post. It is also pointed that Punjab Public Service Commission has no power to relax any condition of eligibility as prescribed in the relevant service rules advertisement. Qualification. Qualification mentioned in the advertisement and relevant service rules are acceptable to the Commission. Other than these qualifications, the candidates will not be held eligible for the post. Acceptance of foreign degree and diploma. The Commission shall accept degrees, certificates, diploma of those foreign universities only which have been recognized by Ppsc, Pakistan Medical and Dental Council, Pakistan Engineering Council, Pakistan Nursing Council, Inter-Board Committee of Chairmen, or other competent agency or authority. The equivalence of foreign and local academic qualifications as laid down by the Ppsc, Pakistan Medical and Dental Council, Pakistan Engineering Council, Competent Committee or Authority, and Qualification Equivalence Determination Committee, duly approved by the Administrative Department, shall be accepted by the Commission as final. Note, in case a candidate claims that his or her qualification is equivalent to the prescribed qualification, he or she will be required to submit equivalence of his or her qualification issued by the competent authority at the time of interview or whenever asked by the Commission. If a candidate fails to submit equivalence certificate issued by the competent authority at the time of interview or whatever asked by the Commission, his or her candidature shall be cancelled. Reckoning of age. Where recruitment is to be made on the basis of written examination, age of candidate shall be reckoned as the 1st of January of the year in which examination is proposed to be held, and all other cases age will be reckoned as the closing date fixed for the receipt of application. In case a candidate is underage or becomes overage even by 1 day after adding the actual day of his or her birth to his or her age on the closing date for the receipt of application, or on the 1st January of the year of combined competitive examination as advertised, he or she shall be considered ineligible. This has been done on the ground that a child born on 1st January will be of 1 year on 31st December in same year. On 1st January of next year, his or her age shall be 1 year and 1 day. Example for calculating age of the candidate. Where age is reckoned on the closing date, if date of birth of a candidate is 15th August 1970 and the closing date for receipt of application in the Ppsc office is 7/2/1998, the age shall be calculated as under. ये फार्मूला देख लें जी. ये है जी फार्मूला जिस हिसाब से एज कैलकुलेट होगी. Where age is reckoned on 1st January of the year in which the examination is proposed to be held. In case upper age limit is 28 years and date of birth of a candidate is 01 January 1998 and the closing date for receipt of application in the Ppsc office date of reckoning of age of candidates is 00/1/2016, the age shall be calculated as under. ये फार्मूला ये भी आप देख लें जी. ये है जी दूसरा फार्मूला. 7 एग्जाम्पल दी हुई है. The age of candidate will be calculated from his or her date of birth as given in the secondary school certificate. मैट्रिक के इम्तिहान में जो दी गई है जी डेट ऑफ बर्थ. In case the candidate has appeared in any other examination equivalent to say secondary school certificate such as senior Cambridge, O-level and certificate of such examination does not bear date of birth of the candidate, he or she shall be required to produce the school leaving certificate bearing his or her age of birth, original or valid computerization CNIC issued by National Database, or birth certificate duly issued by the concerned local council authority. Relaxation concession in upper age limit to a candidate shall be admissible as per law, rule, and policy of the government. In case additional vacancies are added to the advertisement, a number of vacancies, the age of the candidate shall be calculated in the manner hereunder. For candidates who had applied in the response to the original advertisement, the date shall be the closing date as indicated in the said advertisement. For candidates who had applied in the response to the subsequent advertisement, increasing the number of posts of the original advertisement, except the candidates appear in combined competitive examination, the date shall be the closing date of the subsequent advertisement. Whereas candidates for the combined competitive examination, age shall be reckoned from 1st January of the year in which the examination is proposed to be held. The candidates who could not apply in response to the original advertisement, since they were underage on the closing date, shall become eligible if they attain the requisite limit on the closing date of the subsequent advertisement, which would be reflected in the subsequent advertisement as well. Age relaxation. Age relaxation in upper age limit as admissible under the Punjab Civil Service Recruitment rules is as under. In case of ex-Defence Forces officer personnel, the entire period of service rendered by them in the Defence Forces subject to a maximum of 10 years shall, for the purpose of upper age limit for the appointment under any rule, be excluded from the age. In case of candidates already working as government servant under the Government of Punjab, the period of his continuous service as such shall, for the purpose of upper age limit prescribed under any service rule of post for which he or she is a candidate, will be excluded from his or total age, provided that the upper age limit shall not exceed 35 years for the recruitment to any post to be filled in on the recommendation of Punjab Public Service Commission on the basis of combined competitive examination. In case of special persons as defined under Rule 2 of Punjab Civil Service Recruitment, appointment to post shall be raised by 10 years. Employees of federal government or semi-government or autonomous body of federal government or autonomous bodies of provincial government and those of local bodies are not entitled to age concession. Note करें जी, they are not entitled to age concession for the period of their service in such organization. Claiming of additional marks. If an applicant claims award up to 10 additional marks, being a son, daughter of a deceased, incapacitated civil servant during the service, he or she shall submit the following documents: death certificate of the father or mother, as the case may be, from the corporation municipality concerned, certificate showing name and designation of the incapacitated or deceased civil servant issued by the competent authority of the department where he was employed, affidavit from the candidate or he or she is unemployed and that he or she has neither availed the benefit of additional mark and shall avail this concession in future, affidavit from other brothers or sisters of the candidate declaring solemnly that they surrender their right of grant of 10 marks in favor of candidate and that they have neither availed this benefit nor shall claim this in future. Family tree issued by the Nadra indicating detail of family members. Departmental permission certificate. In case of candidate is a government servant, a departmental permission certificate Form available on Punjab Public Service Commission website, duly signed by stamped by competent authority of the concerned department, is required to be produced at the time of interview. Conditionalities of domicile. Candidates are required to ensure the following conditions with respect to domicile. Domicile certificate of a candidate shall be from the relevant district of province of Punjab issued on or before the closing date of receipt of application, provided that in case candidates have applied for domicile before the closing date and provides documentary evidence in this regard, his and her domicile issued after the closing date will be acceptable. The domicile certificate produced and submitted by the candidate should be of the same district which he or she has mentioned in the relevant column his or her online application, otherwise application will be rejected. A married female candidate may opt for the district of domicile of his of her husband, provided that she has surrendered her previous domicile certificate, and in such case she will produce domicile certificate of her husband along with the proof of her marriage, provided further that her previous domicile certificate will be considered to have been cancelled for any future claim of domicile by the said candidate. Candidates from Azad Kashmir who are permanent residents of Azad Kashmir but are also domiciled in Punjab will be considered on basis of domicile concerned district of Punjab. Counting of experience. For the purpose of counting of experience, the following criteria will be applied. Experience required for determination of eligibility for the post. A candidate shall have to produce documentary evidence in support of his or her claim. Experience of government service shall be acceptable if the candidate is issued by the concerned appointing authority person authorized to do so. In case a candidate claims experience of private firm entity, he or she must bring proof at the time of interview that the firm entity is registered with CECP, registrar of firms or other regulatory authority, failing which his application shall be rejected. House job experience in public service sector. Public sector or recognized medical institution in private sector shall be counted as practical experience. Experience of residency of FCPS or FCMD or during studies abroad such as Diploma of American Board Fellowship shall be considered as experience in the line only. Only that particular professional experience shall be considered which has been acquired in the relevant area while working in the public sector or recognized institution in the private sector. Experience certificate in respect of contract, current charge, acting charge, and ad hoc appointment issued by the appointing authority under rule shall be accepted. Experience in private entities shall be accepted if such entity is registered with SEP registrar forms or other regulator authority. In case where experience is a prerequisite qualification, experience acquired in honorary capacity shall not be considered unless a notification to this effect be issued by the competent authority. Experience in general specialty shall not be considered relevant as experience in a specific specialty prescribed for a post. Where experience has been prescribed as mandatory condition along with minimum educational qualification in the service rules for the eligibility to the post. In such cases, only that particular period of experience will be counted which a candidate would possess after acquiring the prescribed minimum educational qualification. Provided that the service rules, it is provided that the experience shall be counted before or after the prescribed qualification. In such cases, experience shall be counted in accordance with the relevant service rules. ये एक एग्जाम्पल दी गई है जी. Counting of research experience. Research experience means the actual period spent on conducting research in the area of specialty. Period spent on research as part of MPhil PhD shall be counted as research experience up to the maximum of 2 years for MPhil and 4 years of PhD. The research experience of a candidate gained during service as research assistant, associate professor in a government or recognized research institution will be accepted as such experience. Research paper. Following will be ensured. A candidate shall be required to submit 2 copies of published research paper along with the recognition list of foreign journals listed by the Higher Education Commission within 3 years of the closing date of application where so required. Research paper which have been published in a journal and listed by Higher Education Commission in a journal of HEC recognized foreign university shall be accepted without further evaluation. The Commission shall not accept research paper of a candidate which have been published in any journal after the closing date for receipt of application for the advertised post. Review articles, case studies, translation, briefs, presentation in conferences shall not be admissible as a professional research paper. If a condition in the rules advertisement is laid down that the research paper have to be written as principal author, then only the first name in the list of the authors of research papers will be considered a principal author. For the purpose of registration of a specialist, following criteria will be applicable. Procedure for submission of written request, application for change in particulars after closing date. The written request, application for candidates for change in the particulars shall be sent to Secretary Punjab Public Service Commission within 3 days after closing date of advertisement. The written request, application for change in the particulars should be sent along with a copy of CNIC Treasury receipt and clearly mention the following information. Written test and interview. Candidates will be admitted to the written examination test. Detailed scrutiny of the applications and documents of successful candidates and written examination test will be carried out at the time of interview. If any candidate is found ineligible under law rules, his candidature will be cancelled regardless of the fact whether he or she appeared in the written examination and qualified the same. The candidate will be called for interview provisionally. On detailed scrutiny of the applications and documents of the candidates on the day of interview, if any candidate is found ineligible in any respect under the rule, his/her candidature will be rejected. To avoid frustration, candidates are advised in their own interest to make sure before applying that they fulfill all the requirements of the selection criteria as advertised and other rules related to the post before the closing date of receipt of application. Written examination test. The Commission has adopted 2 categories of examination system. Written examination where the Government of Punjab or the Commission prescribe a mandatory written test such as examination is known as written test. And a written test means one paper written test, objective or subjective, conducted by the Commission. Kinds and marking of written test. Written test may be descriptive, subjective type or multiple choice, objective type or combined or both. Syllabus and details are available on Ppsc website. Negative marking will be done and 0.25 marks shall be deducted for each wrong answer in the multiple choice objective MCQ paper. Candidates who have applied for a post where mandatory written examination is not laid down may be required to appear in the written test. The decision to hold or not to hold a written test entirely rests with the Commission. Qualifying condition for written test. A candidate must obtain 40% marks in each of the subjective paper. Qualifying marks for the MCQ's objective paper will be 40%. In case of written examination, a candidate must obtain 50% marks in aggregate to qualify for the interview. Admission of candidates for written examination, a written test. Candidate will be admitted for written examination, written test provisionally without scrutiny of their application at their own risk, subject to be found eligible for the post after scrutiny of requisite documents at the time of interview. Admission letter for written examination, admission letter for the written examinations are uploaded collectively on the website by the Commission. No candidate will be issued admission letter individually. Production of original valid computerized national identity card at the time of written examination. Production of valid computerized national identity card for the purpose of appearing in the written examination by the candidate is mandatory requirement, provided that in case of computerized identity card has expired or lost, the officer in charge of the center shall allow such candidate provisionally to appear in the written examination on production of valid original passport or service card or any other valid authentic original document to the satisfaction of the center in charge, provided that further that the center in charge shall obtain an undertaking on the matter from the candidate to effect that he or she shall produce the original valid CNIC at the time of interview, failing which he or she or candidate shall be cancelled. The center in charge shall annex such undertaking with the attendance sheet of the candidate. Production of original valid CNIC at the time of interview. Where the time of interview a candidate fails to produce his original valid CINC, he or she may be interviewed provisionally and his identification be carried out on the basis of other authentic alternative documents like passport, original domicile, degree certificate, bearing photographs of candidate, etc. Deposit of application fee, submission of online application. In case a candidate deposits application fee for a specific post but inadvertently submits his online application for another post for which he or she has not deposited application fee, his or her application with his prior approval of chairman may be considered for the post for which he or she has deposited application fee. However, application fee deposited for a specific post shall not be considered for any other post advertised by the Commission. Mentioning of paper code on MCQ's answer sheet. It is mandatory for the candidate to write the code and fill the relevant bubble code on his or her answer sheet carefully, failing which his or her answer sheet shall not be marked and his or her candidature shall be deemed considered as cancelled. Observation on the correctness of question in the written test examination. If a candidate has any observation on the correctness of any of the question, the same shall be brought to the notice of Ppsc in writing during the conduct of written test examination or after the written examination on the same day. No objection on the fallacy of the question will be entertained thereafter. Prevener of writer and reader. The Commission has an appropriate mechanism for providing helper to special person during written examination. Reader-writer shall be provided to the handicapped candidate by the Commission if so requested by him at least 3 days before his written examination. Qualification of the writer shall be one step lower than the prescribed qualification of the post for which written examination or written test to be conducted. Request for the reader-writer on the day of the written examination shall not be entertained by the Commission. Candidates are not allowed to bring his or her own reader-writer for written examination test without the prior approval of the Commission. Procedure for shortlisting of candidates. Shortlisting of candidates for interview will be done on the basis of academic record marks secured by both of the above. Formula for calculating of number of candidates to be called for interview. The number of candidates to be called for interview shall be depend on the number of posts indicated in the requisition. 5 candidates shall be called for interview for 1 post, provided that if all candidates called for the interview fail to qualify the interview, next candidate with the same ratio shall be called for interview in the prior approval of chairman. However, the candidate may increase the number of candidates to be called for interview for 1 post on the case-to-case basis. The above criteria shall also be applicable for the candidates when called for interview against the quota of women, special person, or minority. Tie cases. Shortlisting in tie cases is done by the following procedure. Candidates who score equal marks on written test may be called for interview over and above the ratio of candidates posts. In case on the basis of academic qualification, only candidates who score equal marks on the basis of academic record may be called for interview over and above the ratio. Increase or decrease in number of posts. In case a number of posts are increased or decreased by the competent authority as provided in the provision of Ppsc regulations or policy decision, a fresh advertisement or corrigendum will be published in the newspaper. Psychological assessment. A candidate who possesses the written examination may be called for psychological assessment. Conduct of interview. Qualifying candidates for the interview. Only those candidates will be called for interview who have passed the written examination or written test or have been shortlisted on the basis of academic qualification or eligible candidates where the Commission decides not to conduct written examination or written test shortlisting on the basis of academic qualification. In order to qualify the interview, a candidate will be required to obtain 50% marks in the interview. Interview call-up letter. Following will be done. Schedule of interview for the set post will be uploaded on the website. Candidates can download their call-up letters and information about date, time, venue of interview from the Public Service Commission site. Communication with the candidates will be made electronically only. Candidates are advised to regularly visit the Commission website for any information. In case copies of requisite documents are required by the Commission, can send those copies through courier or registered mail. Production of original documents. The academic marks shall be awarded only on the basis of original documents, certificates, diplomas, or degrees produced submitted by the candidate at the time of interview. Provided that the Commission shall accept original certificate by the controller of examination of Board of Intermediate at Secondary School or University, if till then original certificate, diploma, or degrees has not been issued by the Board or University. In case degrees, diploma, certificates do not bear the marks awarded to a student or the candidate also fails to submit detailed mark certificate related to such degrees, diploma, Commission shall award marks according to the lowest percentage of marks which have been prescribed to qualify such examination. For example, if detailed mark certificates are not been provided, submitted, the mark shall be awarded according to the minimum qualifying percentage of marks prescribed as shown below. Number of candidates, number of chances. For all posts to be filled through written test following by the interview or interview alone, the number of chances shall be restricted to 3 in case the candidates who fail in the written test they thrice for a specific post. Number of chances for competitive examination shall remain 3, and there shall be no change for competitive examination included combined competitive examination. There shall be no limit of chances where recruitment is being made through one paper, written test followed by interview, or interview alone if candidate obtains qualifying marks in the written test, irrespective of the fact that whether he or she is called for interview or not, or if he or she has obtained the qualifying marks interview, irrespective of the fact whether he or she is recommended or not. If a candidate who is applicant for the more than one subject, he or she shall be allowed 3 chances in each subject for which he or she is a candidate. Procedure for intimation of examination, test date, time and place to candidate and subsequent action by Ppsc. Procedure for intimation of written examination, test, candidate, time, placement is given below. The candidates will be made electronically. Communication with the candidates will be made electronically. Tentative written examination test schedule is displayed at least 10 days before the written examination. Email and SMS regarding actual schedule of written test is sent to candidates collectively. 3 days before the actual date of written examination, test a reminder in form of SMS and email is sent to the candidate. If the candidate does not receive intimation through SMS or email regarding his or date of written examination, then he or she may confirm his status from Ppsc. A congratulatory email is sent to all successful candidates who have passed written examination with certain instructions as to be followed by them. Procedure for intimation of interview date, time and place to the candidates. Where interview is conducted with the written test within 2 days after the closing date of data receipt after a decision regarding holding of interview, either before security or after security of application or shortlisting of candidates on the basis of academic record only. Where interview is conducted after examination test, this procedure will be adopted. Merit list. Validity of merit list. For recommending substitute, the merit list remains valid for 12 months. Substitution of recommended candidate. A substitute shall be provided by PCSE from the existing merit list. Or if requested by the concerned department during the validity of merit, if a recommended candidate fails to join the post, renders his resignation, is terminated by the department, is declared medically unfit, withdrawal of recommendation. The Commission is empowered under the law to withdraw recommendation. Action against candidates on cheating, violation of instruction, on false information. A candidate may be disqualified or debarred from any written examination, test, or interview for any post held or to be held by the Punjab Public Service Commission. Miscellaneous. How to find application number if lost. The procedure is given and the website is also indicated. For any queries, grievances, please contact this number. And these are the email addresses for different purposes. If a candidate changes his mobile number already fed in In the online application, he shall send a signed application through email along with a copy of the original or valid CNIC. Following gadgets are not allowed in the written examination. Candidates are not allowed to carry mobile phones or similar gadgets. Please refuse to engage with any person who may offer to help you get selected. ये वार्निंग भी नोट कर लें जी. ये वही वार्निंग उर्दू में दी गई है जी. Wish you all the best जी. Stay blessed.